Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to make sure you know all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on all new episodes of Wade's World, Boob Windows and Long Boxes, our Hard R movie reviews, and so much more, all completely uncensored. Access starts for as little as $1 a month, full videos when you pledge $3 a month. Check us out at the link in all of our show notes, or just go straight to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Parrish, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hi, this is Mark Wade, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hello, kids, and welcome back to the Capes and Lunatics, episode 225. The Shang-Chi movie review, a big announcement, and so much more. I am Phil, and joining me, as always, coming to you somewhere on the road, it is...
From Mystic, Connecticut, on Greensmanville Lane, it is I, Charlie, the Professor Essa.
And coming to you live from the dollhouse in Florida, and that sounded really weird. It is...
Hey y'all, it's Lilith Hellfire.
Yes, no, she actually has dollies behind her kids now.
She has
Well,
lots
you
of
gotta watch
dolls.
the YouTube.
Yes, exactly. Oh,
And the dolls are happy to be there.
or is it a strip club? Watch, subscribe to the YouTube, find out.
Again, I tell you, Phil, you keep on bearing the lead about the topless movie reviews.
Oh yeah, someone's topless on the movie review, so yes, you should subscribe to the Patreon.
Every episode.
Hey,
Oh,
look!
hi.
It's an Alaskan housewife.
Oh hi,
A
Diane.
wild Alaskan housewife appears.
She probably wants to see our announcement. Should we do the
See,
announcement?
now that's false advertising at that point.
Should we do it first? Should we do the announcement first or at the end? Local?
Yeah, definitely. We should just get the business out of the way so we
Okay.
can talk our movie.
All right. So, yes, big things coming for the Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics sidekicks. How do I put this? Well, Rob Southgate has dismantled the Southgate Media Group. Yeah, so starting in October, we'll be our own free agents. So I mean, you should, if you're a listener, you should see no difference at all in except maybe a naughty word or two sprinkled in. But the big difference you should see is we're going to switch one or two shows around. So right here on the Capes and Lunatics podcast, you're going to probably get most of your Marvel stuff. So yeah, Ultimate Spider Cast is going to be here. The Devil You Know will be here. So yes, we figured, hey, this is the home of Charlie Esser. This feed should be all Marvel. And then over on the Capes and Lunatics sidekicks, you'll get all your DC stuff. You know, your We Are the Knights, Nightwing News, Sector 2814.
We are the night. What?
The Batman podcast.
Thank you. Put some respect on that.
Okay, I was going to say, mate, you didn't think Ray heard that. Okay.
But, Philip, where is our dedicated Archie podcast?
Oh, hey, Lilith
Do we
Hellfire.
not have one yet?
Lilith Hellfire is free to do that on Patreon.
If somebody wants to start an Archie, I am more than happy to be there too. But until then, I don't want to just be me gushing about how great Archie is.
So, as I said, get a co-host. But yes, and going forward, all of our interviews will probably be on the Patreon. We might
Phil
give you
takes up all my time. You guys know that.
He's a very demanding podcast.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
So says Philip. So says Philip Doom.
Apprentice Doom.
Blue collar Doom. So yeah,
Chief Doom. Because you worked your way up from the enlisted ranks.
Oh, okay, yes.
Master Chief Doom.
I understood that reference. It's a Star Trek reference.
Well, my O'Brien. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, again, going forward, starting in October, all the Marvel stuff will be here. All the DC stuff will be on Capes and Lunatics sidekicks. You should see no difference in quality or, getting the shows out. It will everything is just going to be in our hands basically. So, and again, most of our interviews are going to be on Patreon. We might give you a taste of the first few minutes here, but please subscribe. So please subscribe to the Patreon, kids, because yes,
We'll also have other ways where you can support us, whether it's through merch, Cash App, Subscribe Star, buy us a cup of coffee, things like that. So it'll be definitely a diverse way to support us if you're in the generous mood.
yes, but before Robert Southgate was footing the bills, now it is us. So yes, the Patreon becomes so much more important, kids. So yes, if you have anything, please help support this show. Well, the Capes and Lunatics, sidekicks.
OnlyFans.
I feel like you're playing that Sarah McLachlan music.
Somebody's telling us to make an OnlyFans.
You know what?
I'll leave
I'm
that
there
to the
for it.
housewives.
Oh,
Hello, OnlyFans. Would you like to see some mustache action?
Some mustache grease.
I was going to say the church involved. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, there's someone out there that will pay me to watch me wax my mustache.
And
I
now
don't
you
know
know
who
why
it
we
is.
got canceled.
Don't know who it is, but I'm certain they will pay for that tutorial.
Oh, so they'll watch him like wax his mustache, wax on, wax off.
Well, the trick with mustache wax, and you can't just use a standard like pomade. Mustache wax, it's a much coarser, has more grip and hold, but you can't overdo it. And what I found is you put it on one finger,
True,
slowly massage it into the other finger, and then keeping your thumb dry.
True, kids, don't grip it too hard.
That's
massage
when...
it. Yeah.
Shut up, Phil! You're ruining the drops.
You have to understand, it is all about balance. You know what else is about balance, Philip?
What?
Shang-Chi!
Oh!
And the Legend,
of the Ten
Rings.
Yes. Or
I brought
should
it
we?
back.
Or didn't you not pay attention to the movie? It's Shang-Chi or Sean.
It's all regional pronunciations, to be fair. The same thing with the actor's name. So.
Oh, yeah.
This is my biggest gripe with this film, is they didn't make a David Banner, David Belson reference in that moment. It's like, oh, wait, first off, how does she know he's Sean but never know his last name?
Because she's a terrible person.
Clearly. Well, it is. She is played by Aquafina. So.
Oh!
If you are
I
a fan of
wasn't going to be the one to say it, but thank you, Charlie.
Listen to me. I love Nora from Queens as much as I love any television program. And, yeah, she's kind of
worst part of Crazy Rich Asians. There, I said it.
I haven't seen Crazy Rich Asians.
And did I see something about
no one had a cape in that? How am I going to watch that show? I'm going to watch it if you don't wear a cape.
Did I see something about Aquafina and cultural appropriation?
What?
Well, yeah, it's neither here nor there. I mean, she's not really that big of an impact on the movie. Honestly, I'm going to tell you whose movie it really was. It was Tony Leung, because I'm a 90s, Chinese cinema, person. And, honestly, I would have preferred the movie just be him and his origin story. There, I said it. He stole the show every single scene he was in. That's the guy I was rooting for. Hashtag no judgment.
I will tell you this much. One thing you know about Simu Liu, I hope I pronounced that correctly, is he is more than happy to be the Jethro Bodine. He is more than happy to be big and handsome and cool.
Chris Hemsworth, watch your back!
Oh, Chris, here's what I'm going to say. Chris has his money. He's a very zen guy. He's the most successful of the Hemsworths. And he is more than happy to just let the next generation come. He's like, I have been rewarded. He is like Odin in repose. He is okay. But yes, Simu Liu, he is ready to come in. He's ready to be Disney's next great Avenger. And, hopefully, expand the market, because that is what the next goal is.
Well, that was the whole point of this movie, yes, was to expand the market.
Okay.
Although the Asian market that they were catering to didn't like it, but everybody else did, so that's good to know.
Hey,
yeah, well,
hey, Disney knows what they're doing. Hey, I have an 8-year-old.
Same thing with Mulan. The Western market actually cared for it more than the Asian market that they were directed at did. So
hey, I have an 8-year-old who's in there trying to mimic all the kung fu moves last night, and guess what he wants to be?
Phil used to do judo, so he's like, "Come on, kid, we're signing you up."
Taekwondo, but thanks for playing.
Taekwondo, same difference.
Yeah. How dare you?
No, not at all.
I know, not at all. I know. I just give Phil guff.
Taekwondo, the art of hand in the fist. But no, and guess what Halloween costume he wants now. So I mean, Disney, they know their business.
Yeah. Get the
right
real
on time
dragon
for
skills.
Halloween. Mm-hmm.
Well, my son bought a army surplus gas mask for his Halloween costume. So,
You like my
yeah.
gas mask? Because back when I was like a teenager, we used gas masks for something totally different.
Well, yeah, but no, this is purely
costume.
Purely cosplay aesthetics. I got you.
Yes, your son. He's just plotting world domination, Lil. Nothing,
Well, that too, Well, you have to be prepared for whatever, You have to be ready for the scars that you get.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Mustard gas. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. But, man, I really love this film.
Oh, yeah.
On so many levels. I mean, just from the opening narrative and just honestly, just every level of it, it is just such a beautiful interweaving of story. And, I like, and I am going to say this, I do think Awkwafina is central to this story. Because although, granted, she is kind of, basically Awkwafina is the Lewis. What Lewis is to the Ant-Man franchise, Awkwafina is to the Shang-Chi franchise. In the sense that she gives this special grounding to it, gives this perspective of, look, you're a superhero, great, but the world continues. And this, I think, is the central theme of this entire episode, of this entire movie, is this is a world that just went through a blip. There are no superhero deniers. There are no superhuman deniers in the current MCU. Like, maybe people with severe PTSD from the blip maybe says, no, that's just what the media tells you. Half the world didn't blip away. What are they talking about? But really, most people know this. Most people accept this. And I think that a lot of what we get in that end credit scene is specifically about this change in the world.
I know. I mean, that last scene, I thought that was funny. I'm like, people shouldn't be so shocked after the blip. Oh, yeah, there's a portal open in the middle of the restaurant. Okay. They should have been like, oh, okay.
In your restaurant in San Francisco, maybe.
Yeah.
I
mean, they had Ant-Man running around for,
Yeah, but that's not for nothing. Not for nothing, Phil. He was a white guy. So there's a cultural difference that maybe this marks the change of the guard.
Well, I'm not even talking that. I was just talking about no,
I'm not even saying you're saying that. I'm just saying
strange stuff just happens anymore. Everyone's just used to it now. It's like, oh, hey, remember when half the planet disappeared? Oh, yeah, there's a portal. Ooh.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that prior to this, most of the portals opened in New York among white people. So when you're in the restaurant in San Francisco with a mostly Asian crowd, maybe it's a bit more shocking. It's like, oh, I'm not just going to assume a portal just opened behind me.
Yeah.
And the next Sorcerer Supreme just walked out of it. Because, yes, hashtag make Wong Supreme. That is my goal from now on. Because, let's face it, this has not been good with the other two. So let's get some new blood in the field.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought the movie was good. I thought the pacing was good. I don't think there seemed like any part where it lagged or anything. Or I thought it's like, here we set him up. Here's where he's at. I mean, we got the flashbacks. I thought they did the flashbacks good, Lil. I mean, it wasn't like,
Yeah, those are my favorite parts of the movie. And you know how I feel about flashbacks after Arrow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they did them. I thought they did them excellent here. They dropped them in the right places, and I love how his dad, isn't well. He doesn't call himself the Mandarin. He's like, oh yeah, the imposter called himself. You know what he called himself? The Mandarin. So it's like after that whole conversation, I'm just like, okay, so we have the real Orange Chicken Man and the imposter Orange Chicken Man.
By the way, I just want to say I was right.
Trevor
lived. Trevor is with the true Mandarin now. He is part of the court.
Yeah.
The Mandarin mantle.
He is happy to be the court jester. He's an actor and he's working.
And he got clean and sober in prison.
Yeah, but still doesn't know if Morris is real. So
it's the drugs. It can do that to you.
I was going to say,
I understand
the cumulative effect of everything he did previously. Yeah.
Poor Ben Kingsley's just happy to be a part of Marvel at this point. He's like, you remembered me.
Well, but this is what I think is really the theme of this. Not to get off of the film itself, but it's a lot about making good with a lot of things that people were questioning about the bad times. And, as an example, this is something me and Maz talked about today, is like, the fact that Ming-Na Wen isn't in this film is a notable absence from the film. Expressly because I think that they're like, no, we don't want to put her in something new, as beloved as she is, because, quite frankly, she has a role to play in our future. And I honestly feel that's where they're going with that. So that's just my own headcanon. But as I always say, you have to look for the notes they don't play to know where they're going next.
And I mean, they don't have to throw her in just because she's of Asian descent, and except for like Trevor and the people we get in the uncredited scene. Except for like Wong, Trevor, Abomination. I mean, this was an entirely new cast.
Well, exactly, and I think it was intentionally so. But I also think that it was intentionally a predominantly Asian cast because that's who should be in the Shang-Chi film. And then it should merge into all of these actors.
Danny Rand's about to get shanghaied right out of there.
You know what?
Rightly so, as far as I'm concerned.
If they ever decide to make an Iron Fist program, I'm sure they'll integrate it in seamlessly. Much like how the Inhumans have never really been used in the MCU. They can integrate these characters later in a way that makes perfect sense.
That's my thing. I don't want to take Charlie too far off topic, but Kamala Khan's coming. Are they going to make her an Inhuman, or are they going to give her another origin for her powers?
I see no reason not to make her Inhuman. I mean, people are talking about making her like some other kind of. Well, first off, Inhumans are Kree in origin, and yada yada yada. But someone was saying they're going to give her energy powers, and look, they can give her energy powers if they want. I need some embiggening and some smallification and some big hands. Otherwise, it's not my Kamala Khan, It's like you don't adapt this character and give her a completely different power set. It's like, no, you want to adapt her, You had veto power at origin. You did not have to wait and oh no. Now that she's a hit, we're just going to say she doesn't have super stretchy powers because they're hard to animate. We're going to say she has weird CG powers that are also not very easy to animate, but maybe slightly easier than a big old hand.
But like back to the movie, I mean, she's always wonderful, but I thought Michelle Yeoh was just great in this as the aunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole cast is great. Who didn't get enough play, I think, is Shang-Chi's sister's pink-haired assistant, who really he's in it throughout, and kind of struck me as the kind of guy that you want to have a better story for.
Well, as we saw at the end, he's still around, so I mean,
exactly. That's my point. He's not going anywhere. That is a trusted advisor. That is a Wesley.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, really,
That's what little Hellfire looks for, an assistant who will give you the finger as they're slamming the door in your face.
But he is, he was a guy that really did what he had to do,
Mm-hmm.
and served his supervisor very well, and brought this superhuman fight club to where it needed to be, including playing dumb when it was helpful, which I think is the entire point of the busboy scene. Well, I mean, not the busboy scene, because the busboy scene was just great in and of itself.
Hey, busboy!
The idea of this, first off, okay, let's just retread it here. Let's go back to the actual show. And when we're in the bus, and Shang gets accosted by some apparently local street toughs, which is essentially how it goes. And, I appreciate that. I also appreciate that they didn't just come in with a gun and have him have to disarm them with 2 steps.
Yeah.
Expressly because he could and he would. And it would have been a much lesser film. You get the feeling that they were approaching him expressly to see if they could intimidate him into giving over the necklace. And, that he didn't, honestly, I mean, if he were smart, the smart thing would have been to put a gun to somebody else's head and say, give us the necklace or this person will get shot. And you maybe have a slightly better chance of defeating Shang-Chi in that moment. But just coming up to him and saying, give us the necklace.
They're also being led by, a man whose ego is the size of his car door, Razor Fist.
Well, to be fair, actually, I don't know if Razor Fist was the leader. I actually thought he was the muscle. I don't think he wasn't. I don't really think he was like I think he's a high-ranking member, but I don't think he was like running the whole op. I get the feeling someone else was running the op. Razor Fist is just there to be a Razor Fist. It's like, I have a fist, it's a razor. That's my gimmick. Please give me a job.
I don't know.
I'm really good at fighting, and I can cut things.
I don't know if we saw anyone else, but yeah, like when he'd always report to Shang-Chi's dad, like, oh, the men are ready and this and that. So I just thought, he was like the.
I kind of thought that meant he was the guy who just goes to the person and says, "Yeah, everyone's ready." Like I said, I mean, I'm the guy who usually there's a person who like says, "Tell the Mandarin, the men are ready." Okay, boss.
Once again,
they're ready, boss.
Once again, we got a silent mask figure too. Wasn't that Weapons Master or something?
Death Dealer.
Oh yeah.
Death Dealer, who I was so hoping was going to be the Protector of the Rings. And that's the thing, is like, aside from Trevor, all of my fan theories went to Dross, as they always do.
As they always should.
As they always should, because they're actually paying
They're
people
supposed to be giving us more than that. Exactly.
Exactly. They're paying people to write this stuff. If I'm coming up with the ideas for free, then you wasted your money, quite frankly. If I can spoil myself with my own theories, you did something wrong. Because, and they did something right. They proved they navigated the fan theories perfectly well and gave us just enough to, I think, make people happy. I mean, I really liked this film. I thought this film was really solid in its tale of very bad fathers who did that one good thing, and so maybe you shouldn't be so hard on them. And literally, it is that, your mom once thought he was cool, so maybe cut him some slack because he's been a bad dad. And that's literally the theme of this film.
Well, I mean, I think you lose all respect as a father when you start training your son to be an assassin at the age of 7. I mean, that's
a family business. It's a family. No, I don't think that's the bad thing he did.
Train a 7-year-old to kill people. Yeah, that's not. But no,
Batman lover. What? Shut your mouth.
For real. real.
He didn't train his kid to be. It was the mother who trained him to be an assassin. Come on.
All those sidekicks, I'm just saying, are either assassin or cannon fighter. Either way, it's still bad.
Remember,
No,
Batman does not kill you with fists or weapons. Batman kills you with medical debt. Remember?
The worst way,
okay.
capitalism. Death by capitalism.
Well, he is a capitalist, so that is the cruelest of all revenges. But no.
No, at the end there, when the father's like, "Oh, you just stood there and watched them kill your mother," I would have been like, "Dude, I was 7. What did you want me to do?"
Well, yeah, I mean, no, without a doubt, his father was a narcissistic, evil man. That's actually my point. Is that he is a very bad father by every metric you can do. What I'm saying is, what makes him a bad father isn't that he trained his son to be a warrior. It's that he's just, in general, a bad father. Like, there are fathers who train their children to be warriors who maybe are perfectly decent fathers who just want their child to know about, it's a war-filled world and we all have to negotiate a very balanced and important way through it. But no, he was just a very, I don't want to call him a narcissist because I just watched a Lindsay Ellis video on that. But he was a very, very self-important control person who basically decided to not be quite as evil because of Shang-Chi's mother. And then the minute Shang-Chi's mother dies, he goes right back to evil plus 10. And it is expressing this idea of, you know what, Dad, maybe Mom wouldn't have wanted you to do that. Maybe she would have wanted you to find some peace. Maybe you're the one at fault for actually just leaving the household and leaving us alone with no guards. Because for what it's worth, I mean, I'm sure the guy still had money to hire guards. And he could have had, like, Razor Fist could have still been there, just hanging around. Death Dealer clearly was there at the time. So why wasn't Death Dealer there to say, hey, I'm going to deal some death to y'all?
Yeah.
So maybe leave the boss's wife alone so I don't have to deal all my death to you. I think that was kind of the weakest point of the plot. It helps the story move forward, but it's like the death of the mom is weak, especially because it's implied that she didn't just kill them all and died of exhaustion. Like, that I could see. I could see she killed them all because she is still a freaking master of the ancient god form of martial arts.
Yeah, but somebody escaped because when he turned Shang-Chi turned 14, his father handed him a dagger and said, "Here, go kill the guy who killed your mother."
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is, I think most of them escaped. I think most of them escaped, and I think that's the problem. It's like, no, I can get that she exhausted what little power she had left to decimate these mobsters, but just that she just got murdered. I don't think it works. I don't think that single point works. In other, it's the one undone knot to show we are not God and we cannot make perfection.
Yeah.
In the larger tapestry of this film. Because aside from that, it's pretty awesome.
I mean, I was with the dad when he went and started killing the people who killed his wife. I mean, he could have just killed them all and been like, let this be a warning to you. You come near my children again, and I will kill whoever comes near him. But no, he started training Shang, and then he's a sexist too because he just tells the daughter, "Oh yeah, stay just stay out of the way." And
which gets to our end credit scene. Fun item in this. In the Fight Club, we do see one of the widows from Black Widow as one of their fighters, and I believe she's in the training group of female fighters at the end. So I certainly get the idea that basically...
Oh, Helen?
I forget which one it was, but it was...
yeah, I think it was Helen.
Yeah. I just saw that recently. And I get the feeling that the idea is that there is, that she is sweeping up all of the lost widows to be part of her new Assassin's Guild or just mob front. Because let's face it, assassinating people, it's useful, but it's not really a money business.
It's more of a government thing now. The government really has a side.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's not a private sector business anymore.
Yeah.
So really, your real money is in moving things the government officially doesn't want people to have, whether it's gambling on superhuman fights or, illicit, mutagenic hormones or what have you. That's where the real money is. Because let's face it, after the blip, pretty much everybody is looking to get that upgrade.
Yeah.
So if you say, well, this will make you into the next Captain America, and he survived the blip, so this might help you too. So really, that's the market, and that's where capitalism is going to drive us in the future.
Well, that was my whole thing. I was like, why is Wong fighting in this underground fight club? I'm like...
Because he had to get away from Steven. It was his vacation. He had to take his fight. He can't just punch him in the face. He's taking out his frustrations in the ring, okay?
Well, I'll give you, Scream Crush did a great analysis of this where he basically says, look, the man likes his tuna melts. Tuna melts, you cost money. And the fact of the matter is that if he can work with the powers that be to break out Emil for a weekend, give Emil a weekend pass, and punch him in the face and teach Emil how to fight like a proper trained martial artist, it behooves everyone for him to do that. And he gets a little scratch on the side as he fights Emil in the ring and does the whole why you're hitting yourself routine, which, by the way, I wish they'd done that like more than once, just so we could have said, why are you hitting yourself, Emil? Why are you hitting yourself? But, we don't get that enough. And I think that's the point, because I do think that we are going to get this idea of Emil being a independent contractor after the re-blippening, and that there is going to be this, because again, another brilliant idea that was put out there was that when Emil shows up in She-Hulk, it's probably her handling his appeal.
Oh, maybe.
And it's like, you know what?
Showing
This
her
man
being a BAMF lawyer. Yes, thank you.
Yes. No, that's the thing. They all respect to the woman they cast. She is a tiny woman. But, you can be very intimidating as a tiny woman. Especially if you're a lawyer. If you've got your degree and you can't be convicted because you've earned your degree, as Billy Joel taught us. She will be a very scary person who has been probably litigating the entire Harlem destruction since the start. And she's going to be there saying, this is Emil Blonsky. This is a man who was following orders. This was the man under the guidance of General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. Are you effectively saying he disobeyed, that he followed an unjust order by the Secretary of State? Is that the argument you want to make, Supreme Court?
It was the
Secretary of State gave an illegal order to attack the Hulk?
And they experimented on him, made him insane.
Well, that too, Although he did give informed consent both times.
Yeah. I think he'd still say it was messing with his thought process and stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's entirely possible, but I don't think She-Hulk's going to take the mental health defense. I think she's going to look at the criteria of the situation in which she entered into it. So that's my take. That's just my opinion.
So yeah, I mean, and I guess this is set after Endgame and everything because, I mean, spoilers, that end credit scene, Banner, not the Hulk's arm is in a sling.
Oh yeah, do we want to go all the way to that? Because
I mean, I thought we were just jumping around. I mean,
that essentially establishes the Illuminati. You realize No, for real. That is, the superheroes have now cut out the middleman and are running the show, which defines so much of what Phase 5 is going to be. Which is the idea that, the superheroes, Wong, basically the responsible superheroes, Wong, Banner, and Captain Marvel as the wild card, are the new MCU Illuminati. These are the three people who are sort of being seen as, these are the people in charge of the superhuman community.
The only ones
And
that could really keep them in line when you think about it.
well, really, they kind of are, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Steve's gone.
It seems random, but when you think about it, you're like, well, Hulk, he'll smash you. Captain Marvel will just set you on fire and fling you into the sun. So,
Yeah.
And Wong's kind of the negotiator. He's there for your benefit.
Really interesting. Although it has been pointed out that, Banner's got his arm in the sling. And, that he that damage ain't going away until he goes Grey Hulk. And
Las
realizes,
Vegas, here we come.
yeah, oh man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for my Joe Fix-It.
They just
Mark
paint
Ruffalo's
Ruffalo
Joe
gray.
I mean, I just figured he changed himself back because I'm sure it's easier to do like surgeries on him as Banner than as the Hulk. So,
Does the Hulk even need surgery, though?
I mean, he almost burned his freaking arm off with the gauntlet. I've probably
but if it wasn't going to heal as the Hulk, I don't know if it's going to heal when he's Banner. That's the thing.
But I'm saying if they got to cut into it and stuff, it's going to be easier to Banner.
To paraphrase a Spider-Man issue, it's psychosomatic.
Well, I mean, to a grand
He
extent,
might need a blood transfusion from his cousin. I don't know. Word on the street. Word on the street.
Well, how that whole plays out, that's going to be an interesting story to be certain.
But no,
I mean,
if they're the Illuminati, I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's like, oh, hey, look, we weren't paying attention to those Infinity Stones, and look what happened to the universe. So it's like, yeah, like something blips on our radar now, like those rings. It's like, yeah, we better investigate them because who knows what's going to happen.
But and again, this is all the adults in the room. Because, and for what it's worth,
Banner.
Hank Pym is not an adult in the room.
Hello.
For anyone, yeah. For whoever saw What If #4, them eyebrows do not say adult.
We're all about Pym slander here, sir. We are.
Yes. So it's like, Banner and Wong. First off, Wong has always been the adult in the room. And whoever saw episode 4 knows that apparently all Sorcerer Supremes are bad at their job. It's, that nobody good becomes Sorcerer Supreme because nobody who is really deserving of being Sorcerer Supreme would seek the job.
All Stephen Stranges, at least, are bad at their job.
Well, I mean, the Ancient One freaking broke the time stream so that you could figure it out, man. If you could make the right choice.
Again, was that the only way to do it, though? I mean, maybe...
No, it wasn't. It was a very dumb way to do it. It was essentially... Because eventually he would have come to the same realization that, this is a dumb idea.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that the whole premise of What If, even the comics and in the series? It's like, here's what happens.
What if someone was really dumb? Yeah.
Here's what happens when they make a stupid decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's why #1 is actually my favorite, because Bucky gets saved. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's the one where Hope Pym doesn't die. That whole universe takes a whole different thing.
Peggy is competent, and she had more military.
Well, wait, I was going to say, wait a minute, Bucky, Lilith, are you a Sebastian stan?
I'm just saying, like, the whole thing, although I know in Cap's thing, he's actually inside the train or not on top of the train where he should have actually been. I'm just saying, Peggy is more tactically minded. I'm just going to say it.
Well, yeah, I mean, look.
I love #2.
I mean, no, #2 was good too, but then that universe gets eaten by ego, so. Speaking of narcissism.
Exactly.
Speaking of Lindsay Ellis's great analysis of narcissism this week, the idea of I mean, that's the thing, and that is the thing of what we're watching here. Is this is about a narcissistic parent who has pushed his children, who has kept his children in a mountain retreat, literally away from the world, and they've had to sort of deal with what they had to do, to the point that his daughter, who he literally ignored, who was more than happy to be the appeaser child, eventually had to go off and just said, well, I'll just make my own criminal empire. Thanks, Dad. Just because he was that misogynistic.
Well, to be fair in that culture, to be fair.
Well, I don't know any. Well, first off, a lot of cultures are misogynistic. No individual needs to be misogynistic because of their culture.
Well, again, remember too. I mean, those rings were keeping him alive, right? Because he was like 1,000 years old. So I mean, he was very old school, also.
You know, but that's the thing. Is like I would think that would actually be less. I would think it would be less misogynistic if you were from a time before a lot of codified social norms. But maybe that's just me. Maybe there's just a lot of misogyny intrinsic in the human race.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just humans. It's just a thing. It's a thing. Unfortunately.
Mammals and their dang mammalianness.
No, humans and their damn humanness.
Yeah, well, you know.
And so
I'm not giving lions a pass on this, man. Lions, I think, quite frankly, it's like you're gonna make the females hunt, and you're gonna be the king of the pride. I don't know, dude. I think you're kind of being a lazy.
To the lioness's point, though, it's better to just have to deal with one male being incompetent than a bunch of other ones, and he keeps the other ones away. So they're more than happy. They spend their day hunting. Throw him his meat and they don't bother. You know what I mean? To be fair, I think the lioness
bull moose theory. It's like it's better to deal with one bullwinkle than 10 bullwinkles. I get it.
Exactly. I appreciated the Marvel take on Asian cinema stylistically. I think that was the most interesting thing in the movie for me. It's like, how is Marvel gonna make this style their own? Because, I mean, this is like a story that's been told a billion times. Like, you know, Shang-Chi in its origin is basically Marvel's Bruce Lee. So, I mean, how are we gonna make this work? Not only in the MCU, but in a 2021 world where, you know, all eyes are on you, buddy.
So is this better than the original comic version then? It's like, you know, rather than just...
For me, it is. I was a little iffy about adding the Legends of the Ten Ring thing, and I was like, another MacGuffin. I get it, but... I think they worked it in pretty well. Hey-o.
I mean, okay, can I really, just to talk about the real end credit scene here? Fin Fang Foom. We are calling Fin Fang Foom. Because that is one of the powers of the Ten Rings, is you can call Fin Fang Foom.
That's what I was going to say.
3 times.
What's that? What are those rings signaling?
Exactly. And we're like, oh, maybe they're signaling Galactus. Maybe they're signaling... It's like, no, dude. Do you know the comics? The rings signal Fin Fang Foom. And here's the thing.
They're actually rings for fingers. Or Galactus rings.
Well, no. What? Here's the thing. Okay, so when I'm watching this thing, oh my gosh, when the Dweller in the Darkness is fighting the Guardian, thinking, oh my gosh, Marvel just made a kaiju film. And then I realized, oh wait, they're calling Fin Fang Foom. Oh my gosh, they're gonna make Marvel monsters. All of those monster books from the 50s that made Marvel what it is, that's Phase 5. Not the, oh, here's Galactus. Oh, here's something you can reason with. It's like, no, here's Fin Fang Foom and all of that entire race of dragons and monsters from beyond the stars.
You might be onto something, because doesn't technically Warner Brothers own like King Kong and Godzilla and all that stuff technically? So they would probably want to compete on that level in some way. You might be onto something.
Yeah, I will not be surprised if at the end of Phase 5 you see Fin Fang Foom coming in and just like, I have been summoned. What are you mammals doing with our sacred rings? Those are the spirits of our warriors. I will destroy you all. Because that's all of the 10 rings have the spirits of the 10 greatest dragon warriors of history.
And if you don't do it in a Shang-Chi sequel, you know where he could pop out of. You know where a portal could be. Monster Island.
Well, of course, I mean, we'll
That's
get
a little too obvious, though, don't you think?
Honestly, I would love to get my Mole Man. I would love to get my Fantastic Four. I will accept. Here's what I'll say: I will accept a Fantastic Four that is, wow, we're just brand new to the Marvel Universe. What golly gee, there was an Iron Man at one point. But we're the Fantastic
And then
Four.
they're like, we know that Doom. He doesn't belong here.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if it was just like, no, man, we've been fighting monsters for years, man. I don't know what you guys think you're doing, but there's a whole other negative zone that we've been fighting battles with for like the last 40 years. So, cool beans, man. Here's Frank. He's like the most powerful mutant ever. Oh, by the way, mutants exist. They've been kind of hiding because they're really worried about how you guys are going to react to them. Goodness knows you guys freaked out about a Spider-Man of all things. Franklin Richards is such a BA. I'm just saying. Where were we, guys? The actual film.
Let's talk about the box office. I was a little worried because Friday it was only at it only made like 30 million. It's kind of creeping. It's at like 70.
Well, right. Well,
71.4, and they're expecting like at least 85 by the end of the Labor Day weekend. So that's the record right there, just edging out Black Widow. Not counting the Disney Plus money.
And pandemic numbers, and it's like a new character to a lot of people. That's not bad.
And it's the Labor Day box office record of all time. So
yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna make it. I mean, I know it doesn't count the box office, but I spent an extra $40 on popcorn for the 3 kids, or for the 2 kids I brought with me.
Well, that's good for the movie theater.
Well, you gotta,
as we all know, concessions.
Yeah, I mean that's the real of it. Is that if I go to the movie theater, I gotta buy that stuff because that's what they're there for. That goes straight to them and helps those poor ticket takers actually, pay for their gig.
So, like I was saying, I told Lilith I saw a link. Was it yesterday or the day before? They were saying, they said Disney has like 2 or 3 weeks to decide what they're going to do with Eternals. Whether they go just.
I think this is a good sign that we're getting Eternals.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to get it, but they're like, is it going to be just theatrical, like Shang-Chi?
Without delay.
Or we're going to do the Black Widow model. So, I mean, if Shang-Chi does good numbers, are we going to go just theatrical again, or?
I mean, I'm cool with that. I really enjoyed going to the theater for this.
Yeah.
I would love to do it when it wasn't on a Labor Day weekend when I'm like traveling with everyone and I could just go see it like 2 or 3 times,
I mean, the only downside, like worldwide, is like places like Australia.
Well, China doesn't even have a date for that to be premiered yet. So that's just them being petty, though. It has nothing to do with the pandemic.
But like in Australia and stuff, like they haven't seen Shang-Chi because none of their theaters are open. So. If they don't do
but I think they might be able to work out a deal where they can put that on Disney Plus in other markets. Like for Star, I guess Star is their market, right? Everywhere they live in America.
To be fair, that's the joy of VPNs.
Worldwide distribution things. Yeah. Well,
because you
not
have
when it comes to Disney. Sometimes, to be fair.
Well, I mean, sure, if I wanted to do the whole thing and Disney doesn't have a backdoor secret way to thwart you, which I don't doubt they do. I'm more than willing to bet that, you could distribute it via on demand in, Australia and let it be just the theaters for us in the US. Because God knows we here in the US just feel we're immortal and who needs masks or vaccines anyway.
No, I'm pretty sure there's so much soap on the shelf, nobody's washing their hands again either. But I live in Florida, so your mileage may vary.
Do you want the socialists to win, Lilith?
Oh, no.
Anyway, but no, I mean, I really came to tears at many times in this film.
Oh,
This is a beautifully made film that really hits your hearts. I will say that there are these moments when they're really hitting my heart throughout it. And I'm thinking, man, it's been a long time since someone who punched someone in the face. Could someone kindly punch someone in the face to stop all these feels? Um, especially when they get to Tao Low, and it's just like, here was where we grow as people. It's like, I don't want to grow as people. I want to punch people in the face. Stop making me feel emotions. Uh, but it was beautiful. It was good. I mean, and for what it's worth, with the dad, it's like, I get why he was so easily manipulated. It's sort of how, Mephisto manipulates people. It's like, hey, just another thing me and Maz had a whole discussion about. It's just this idea that, if you're outside of time and space, sure, we can fix that. We can do whatever you want, consequence free wishes, but you got to give something back.
well, that's what I was thinking too. Like when they went there and they were training, I'm like, okay, they were all training just for like a day or two, but I was like, like could time move differently there?
Well, I mean, Shang-Chi's already had a lot of training.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's in his
And
DNA.
Aquafina. Aquafina, I mean, how hard is it to shoot a bow and arrow? I guess is the answer.
It's hard. Actually,
No, I
it's
know.
a very,
I know.
very hard skill set.
Yeah. I was making a joke about that, but
I mean, you have a crossbow and I'll believe it, but not an actual.
But I'm just like magical forest. Time might move differently there.
Yeah. Well, no, I just think they wanted to suggest that this was what Aquafina was always supposed to do. She's supposed to be just a fantastic archer. She just never got the encouragement in that field. Because they even make the point that, you guys are great. You like find something you're good at and you just do it until you're the best there is. And they're like, okay, here, have some arrows. And it's like, now you're doing this, dude. And, and she even says, I do stuff until I got good at it. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And now it's something that she's actually good at and feels passionate about. So, not for nothing, I think poor old Kate Bishop's got another archer on her tail. An older archer, sure, someone who took it up late, but just is really naturally good at it. Which I thought was weird that they named her Katie. It's almost like they were trying to do something there that kind of got undone at the end.
Oh yeah.
Thoughts on that?
I know. I was like, wait a minute, we're already getting a Kate Bishop. Yeah, I was like, yeah. I mean, I guess it's just a name, but
They were like, just in case, we got this in the back pocket.
Yeah. Well, who knows when we actually get to our Hawkeye series?
well, it's supposed to be the end of the year.
Maybe it's going to be Aquafina in that, but
They're just doing the Spider-Man point.
what I will say is I am so in love with Aquafina after Nora.
Okay, just me. That's awesome.
Hello?
I don't know where Charlie went.
Oh, he's there. What happened?
I'm
It
right
was
here.
just
Okay,
me.
there I am. No, I
know
never
what
lost. I never lost Lilith, and then I fell off. I'm
I was just
guessing
like,
when you
it's
fell
just
off,
me.
I had to go to the bathroom. I mean, you don't buy
you
a
pushed the wrong button, Philip. You pushed a button to go to the bathroom.
cell phone. No, I
And
took my cell phone. I don't know what happened. I swear when I got up to leave, I saw you and Lilith on the screen.
You're running the meeting, Phil. When you leave, the meeting ends.
Nuh-uh. I could just take myself out of the stream.
No, you
You're
just push
supposed to
mute.
just put mute and stop camera.
Okay.
Yeah. Just do stop camera, mute, and go pee.
All right. So
Phil, some of us hold it. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you right now.
I
Yeah,
couldn't.
quit drinking all that raspberry iced tea.
Green tea. Shut up. Anyway, so where were we?
I don't even remember.
What
Katie.
were we talking about? Dads?
Katie,
Or-
yeah.
Katie. Yeah, so, I mean, I totally think that there was like this thought, like, oh, well, no, because that's the thing. It's like, I think that on one level, first off, I love Aquafina as an actress for this role. I've not seen her do something, I kind of think of her as like a John Wayne type of actress, where she's really good at playing herself and could probably do every emotion as herself very believably. But if you want her to be anyone other than Aquafina, I don't think you're going to get it. And that's very different than like certain other actors who have a type, like say Clint Eastwood.
Well, yeah, all his movies post him becoming a director are basically just Gran Torino retreads.
Well, but that was a good
Or
film.
even, dare I say, $1 Million Baby retreads, honestly.
I mean, well, to be fair, it's part of the problem that he got there when he was basically already an old man. So all of his film are old man films. And, nothing to say bad about I mean, we all loved Old Man Logan. So it's like, being an old man isn't in and of itself a problem. It's just a realization. But I think that
over to my box.
I think that, there's a quality to certain actors. And actually, I think, Robert De Niro is very much similar, where he's largely the same character, largely the same actor, but can be different characters. Whereas a guy like John Wayne can do the full range of emotion, but you can never separate him from being John Wayne. The John Wayne-ness of John Wayne is the character, even though he can do much more in that character than most people give him credit for. I think, for better or worse, I think Aquafina finds herself in that same place, where you're never going to see her playing, the Southern Belle Philly kind of character. Just because that's just not something that you could buy her in as a character, and to give you an example, I think Brenda Song can very much be a Southern Belle Philly kind of character and sell it in a way that Aquafina could not. So before you think I'm saying like it's something cultural, I'm saying actually no. I just think that there's certain
Wendy
qualities.
Wu for the win. If you know, 90s kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is there's a lot of actors and actresses who can do different characters. And then there are other actors who can do just as much emoting, but they don't do characters. Character acting it's a very separate field. It's why Edward Norton,
Steve Buscemi.
yeah, and it's why Edward Norton can be Bruce Banner and a dozen other characters. Whereas I don't think that, as good of an actor as he is, I don't think who's the guy who's currently the Hulk?
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. I don't think Ruffalo can do as many different characters as Ed Norton can, but that doesn't mean he's in any way a lesser actor. He's just always Ruffalo as that character, as if Ruffalo had been born in that place and been in that place and did that thing. he doesn't put on all the character traits that differentiate. It's a very complex thing. You'd have to be a real, like, in it actor to know, but it's a lot of inside baseball about acting and the different ways you can be a really great actor and just have one character, but also be a lot of different roles. That said, Ben Kingsley can do it all. And he can be the porter. And the porter is the best character in Macbeth. Knock, knock, is it death?
Is that going to be our new Stan Lee? Is he going to have cameos all over the place now?
I mean, you can hope so, but I actually think they left him in Tai Lao. Him
Probably.
and Morris are just happy. And it's like, I don't think the people of Tai Lao are going to be
I
upset
don't
by
think
him.
we need a new Stanley. Like, it's just a thing. Like, you gotta let it go at that point.
You know what? Here's the thing. The only person that could be the next Stan Lee is Jack Kirby. And he's not available. And,
Yeah. That's what I mean.
and to be fair, even though I think Ditko is still alive,
He's not having nothing to do with that.
yeah, I don't think he's going to be that. And you know, that's the thing. It's like that original bullpen. It's sparse now, and you know, Stan was the one who wanted to be there. Stan was the one who wanted to be in the camera. Everyone else, you know, kind of didn't want to be in the camera for the most part. Otherwise, I understand that Jack Kirby does have a cameo in The Incredible Hulk. So, uncredited at a dinner scene. So,
And
they probably only did it because Stan Lee had a cameo in something. So, well, actually, Stan Lee's only cameo was in Trial of the Incredible Hulk. So maybe Stan Lee started doing cameos because someone gave Jack Kirby a cameo. I don't know, but it is what it is.
all right. So, any other thoughts on this, or should we wrap this up and grade it?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up and grade it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wrap it up. I feel bad that I feel like we talked about everything that this film is going to influence and less about the film because it's such a good
I mean, that's
film.
kind of the point of this film, to be honest, though. It's like, oh, what are we going to do for Phase 4? Well, now you know. You don't have to worry about Phase 4. Phase 4 is going to be just fine. I think that's just the whole point. We're going to be fine. We're moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
This is kind of like the first movie of the new phase, because I mean,
and it's like standalone. He wasn't an Avenger. He didn't have a cameo. This is just like brand new, out of nowhere. Get into it.
But I'm just saying, like, Far From Home was so like an Endgame epilogue, and then Black Widow, of course, took place before. You know,
this is a true first Phase 4 movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Eternals after this. But honestly, right now, Marvel's giving us so much content between the TV shows, What If.
Well, yeah, I like how they laid that out. How it went Loki, What If, and then we're going into No Way Home, and this might tie into that part eventually. That whole thing.
It's going to be great, and that's what it is. And I do think Shang-Chi is going to be really central to it all.
And Doctor Strange 2 is going to be very crowded, but I wonder if Shang-Chi is going to show up there too.
Wong, I would bet more. Remember, that is still officially a Sony production. So it's
Doctor
like the
Strange?
worst aspects of Marshall. What?
Doctor Strange?
Oh, Doctor Strange. No,
Yeah,
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about No Way Home.
No.
Doctor Strange, yes. Shang-Chi will show up there. We might even get our first kaiju in that. I mean, we may get... Yeah,
it is the multiverse of madness.
We make an end credit scene of Fin Fang Foom coming towards I've Been Awakened. Honestly, I really want to see who they're going to get to play Fin Fang Foom, because that is going to be glorious.
Who's going to do the voice?
Yeah, it's got to be somebody great.
Who's going to deep
get David F. Walker on the phone?
He has other things to worry about. Let him
I'm
focus
sure he
on
does.
that.
I don't even know if he does voice.
Bitterroot.
There we go.
I was going to
Get
say
Molly Southgate on the phone.
There you go. That's more like it.
Molly Southgate. Hey, she's going to be around forever. I'm telling you right now, Marvel, lock Molly Southgate in now before you regret it later.
Nice mustache, Charlie. All right.
I like my mustache.
All right. So letter grades. Charlie Esser.
A plus. I mean,
Ooh.
not even that. I mean, yeah, there's Marvel fatigue. Yeah, there's this and that and the other. But no, I mean, it was the parts that weren't nonstop action were still good, and they were telling a story. And this was a film about a story, about a family and bad parents that really damaged their children, but we had to sort of understand why they hurt their children. And I will not give any forgiveness to the Mandarin on this, because quite frankly, he was an awful dad on every level.
Orange Chicken Man.
He can say that, but they didn't pull that name out of the hat. I'm sorry. He's trying to distance himself from his own bad choices. Okay.
I mean, are we really going to go back to that name? Because spoilers, he's dead. Supposedly.
Yeah, well, he's dead now, but we all know who he is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, oh, I didn't name myself the Mandarin, but probably he did. I don't think that either what's his name or Trevor pulled that name out of the hat. By the way, that's how sad you are, Aldrich Killian. People remember Trevor, not you. You know, and no, I'm going to give this an A+. This was a great jump into phase 5, whatever phase this is. I don't know what phase we're in, but this is clearly the next step of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I love it. I'm really here for more. Especially if Awkwafina's in it and Wong is in it. Because these people are, honestly, the best things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And Carol, I love you, but give somebody your number. Bruce should not have to be saying, I don't know her number.
All right.
Unless that was an improv scene and he's just not yes-anding her. Which is very bad form, Mark Ruffalo. Ed Wood Norton would never not yes-and.
Well, yeah, he would. He's a lot of things that he won't do. If you know, you know.
Okay,
you're going to leave Ruffalo alone. We're not here for Ruffalo slander.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just saying, if that was an improv scene, then you have to yes and. I mean, that's just... Or you have to say, I can get it, but, you know, you're not supposed to say no in improv. That's the rule.
All right, Lilith, what did you grade it?
I'll give it a B as in boy minus.
Oh
wow!
It's all right. It's fine. It's fine. I like the martial arts. I like more of the cinematic stuff that they did. The score was really good. The composer really pulled it together. That's probably why Charlie was really crying, is those little notes that just tug right there on the heartstring. I thought the technical aspects were very great.
And did you see they have an actual soundtrack too? So,
I'm never really a fan of Marvel soundtracks. I prefer like the composer and that particular kind of score, things like that.
I'm just saying that's part of the movie. It's like I don't just grade it on the fact that, you know, oh, this scene was good and this scene was bad. I'm saying, well, as a piece, I feel it was really good. You know, I don't feel there was a part that, like, you know, like if I cried, I don't care who's making me cry. I care that I cried. I cried a lot in this film because it's about dads and not being a very good dad. I am not a good dad. Don't tell my kids. Oh.
Okay, Mr. ASMR. I went into this with like zero expectations, and I was very impressed. I will give it an A. Very good. And like I said, Luca loved this movie. He said it was better than Black Widow, I think, because it was more action. So, was
it? I guess it maybe was.
They only had like 3 big fight pieces in Black Widow. So.
Yeah. You know what it is?
It was an interpersonal tale for sure.
There was more talking. Yeah.
I think what it is, I actually think that they're probably about even, but I think that Shang-Chi's had really big fights and then long spots of real talking, but that were very quiet talking and not jokey talking. And I think that when they got to those fights, oh my gosh, Kaiju, man. It was a kaiju film all along, and we didn't even know it. And that was the best part of it. When the Guardian fights the Dweller in the Darkness, who is a Marvel Comics character, by the way, and then we get the smog shot, and then the whatever it is it's called. I guess if you if you watch the Dragon Ball Z, you know what the fireball thing is. The King Kamehameha, shot, and that was just beautiful as far as art goes. I know I said it wrong, but it's something so it's like Kamehameha, ha ha. It's Aquafina says what it is. She's younger than me. She knows. She watches these cartoons. Lilith knows whatever the Kamehameha ha ha thing is.
Aha.
Which I have,
No, don't start that, Phil.
but it's a Dragon Ball Z thing, and it works, and it's beautiful, and he does it, and it's honestly, you live for those moments in a film where someone says, "Oh no, anger is rising." No, you thought I was just something else, but no, now I must release my full power. And now he has, and it is beautiful. And also, it is beautiful expressly because his father could have used the power for good, but chose not to. And Shang-Chi is using the power for good. Shang-Chi kept the rings, did not give them to his sister, who he told to dismantle the organization, even though she's not going to be doing that. Thank you very much. And that is the beauty of it. Is like he is like, I'm gonna hang on to these. Me and Wong are gonna talk about them, and we're gonna call it a day. His sister's gonna do what his sister's gonna do, but he knows this is power not for her, and that is both sexist and beautiful.
All right, are we done?
As much as we're gonna do.
All right.
Just don't use that drop too much.
I don't know what happened. All right, kids. So yes, send your thoughts on Shang-Chi. Any questions on our big announcement? Again, probably back next week, normal episode, comics and everything. Email us your thoughts, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, and call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find links to all the various social medias for all the shows. You can find the links to our YouTube channel. Yes, Little Hellfire. Links to... so please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, of course, especially very important now, more than ever, please find the link, subscribe to our Patreon or the link to the merch. Please go buy some merch. Links to all of it's all in one place. And as Lil Hellfire was pointing out, yes, it'll be in the show notes on the YouTube video, the podcast. It'll always be in the show notes. Linktree, linktr.ee/capes and lunatics. So, yes, please go subscribe and Patreon, YouTube, all of it. All right, Lil Hellfire, where can people talk to you about kaiju?
If you nerds want to find me on the interwebs, you can find me on Twitter @LilithHellfire, on Instagram @LilithHellfire69, and of course on TikTok making comments and only Star Trek related content @LilithHellfire69.
Get there from all sides.
I wish.
Hey, Charlie Esser.
Well, you can always write to me in an old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Do people even email anymore? I don't know. And, of course, you can always follow me on the Twitter when I live tweet things, which I won't in the near future because of problems with Lowcast and the WB and how they're not anywhere that you should be anymore. I'm sorry, CW. @CharlieEsser. I'll live tweet something someday. That's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what?
For quality. Ding!
Thank you, Maz.
Must pause. Thank you for joining us. And again, keep joining us. Please, any support you can throw our way would be much appreciated. To keep us going, because for another week we have been your capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics!
Yay!
Oh, well, we still have to tell Charlie Esther about the Halloween special. We're going to do our favorite Halloween-themed comics, Charlie Esther. We're going to dress up for the evening.
Oh, gotta dress up too. Oh,
Just wear
I'm
something.
gonna find a Gwenpool costume
Just
in
put
my
on
size.
just put on a blue Oxford and you'll be Sugar Bear. It's fine.
I'll find something to do.
Style the mustache.
I'll be the stranger.
Turn of the century.